ฮัลโหลสวัสดีครับใครเข้ามาแล้วบ้าง1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1
หนูคนเดียวค่ะอาจารย์
มีแค่คนเดียวเองเหรอเออเอ
หนู
อเออ
หนูหนูปุญญาพรที่ไป Work and Travel มาค่ะอาจารย์
อ๋อสิเดี๋ยวถ้าเราเพื่อนๆมาก่อนก็ได้ครับเป็นไงบ้างหนูเปิดหน้าได้ไหมเดี๋ยวนะขอดูก่อนว่าหน้าอาจารย์เป๊ะไหมอันหน้าไม่เป๊ะปิดดีกว่ารอเล่นนะฮะ
หนูก็เพิ่งตื่นเหมือนกันค่ะอาจารย์หนูจะเปิดหน้าให้อาจารย์
โอเคครับแฮปปี้นะเออ
สนุก
ก็
ดีค่ะอาจารย์
อาจจะต้องเรียนออนไลน์ไปสักพักหนึ่งนะครับไม่
ได้
เป็นไร
ค่ะอาจารย์
ก็
เดี๋ยวหนูไปตามงานอีกทีหนึ่งค่ะมีงานไหมคะอาจารย์
ก็มีแค่พรีเซนต์แล้วก็สอบพรีเซนต์ครั้งเดียวนะฮะแล้วก็สอบ midterm final ตามทั่วไปนั่นแหละใช่
โอเค
ครับ
ค่ะ
เดี๋ยวเราเพื่อนๆจอยกันอะไรกันนะฮะเดี๋ยวเราปิดกล้องดีกว่า
ได้ค่ะอาจารย์
อืมฮะนะครับทุกคน how many of you here
อาจารย์คะวันนี้กลุ่มแรกพรีเซนต์ใช่ไหมคะ
ใช่ครับ
เป็นกี่นาทีคะอาจารย์
แป๊บเดียวนะฮะแล้วแต่เราเลยเดี๋ยวนะครับเปิดกล้องก่อนไอต้องเปิดกล้องเนี่ยคุยกับเด็ก แล้วแต่เราเลยครับหมายถึงว่าจริงๆแล้วนะพรีเซนต์เนี่ยล็อกไว้ที่ประมาณ20 นาทีนะครับ15 ถึง 20 นาทีแป๊บเดียวนะครับแต่ว่าถ้าเกิดว่าเราคอนเทนต์หมดเคลียร์ขึ้นอยู่กับคอนเทนต์นะ let's say ว่าสมมติเราพรีเซนต์เรื่อง tense กับเอ่อคิวแรกคืออะไรนะ passive form ใช่ไหมครับเพราะฉะนั้นก็ดูว่าแต่ละตัวเป็นยังไงบ้างแล้วก็มีข้อสอบยังไงบ้างก็แชร์ให้เพื่อนฟังและอาจารย์ก็คอมเมนต์ให้นิดเดียวปิดจ็อบก็คือเข้าเรียนเลยไม่ได้เข้าไปสู่บทเรียนเลย alright ครับผม I hope you guys how can I say alright แบบนึงนะฮะทำไมได้จับซูมนะเริ่มงงแล้วเนี่ยปิดกล้องกันดีกว่า I have to put this one first. All right. So I understand. Maybe we can wait for you. Just hold on and waiting for your friend coming here first. Just because maybe we can like check the attendance at 9 o'clock. All right, 9 o'clock นะตามนั้นเสร็จนี่03ใช่ไหมเดี๋ยวนะ1 2 3โอเคโอเค this one 03 โอเคเดี๋ยวเปิดกล้องได้ละเปิดกล้องได้เดี๋ยว all right, I guess that you guys are ready for online platform, online study class. So first of all, what you need to do is that just make sure that you check the attendance. Okay, so everyone look at into the line group and just write your name and ID student into the line group, please. 1, 2, 3, go ไปเลยเดี๋ยวไปเช็คชื่อในไลน์นะครับของเราเสก3 กับ 2นะ3ปะนิสิตไม่ต้องเปิดกล้องก็ได้นะสำหรับคนที่พรีเซนต์อาจจะต้องมีการเปิดกล้องนิดนึงนะฮะเพื่อให้รู้ว่าใครเป็นใครนะพร้อมยังนะฮะไปเช็คชื่อก่อนนะฮะในไลน์นะในไลน์โอเค let's say ว่าสมมุติไอเขียนว่า teacher dodo แล้วกันนะครับ789เก่งมากนะตามนั้นเลย Just because I just want to make sure that you can write your name and ID student into the line group, and then after that we're gonna do some kind of activity together today, right? After we finish, presenting, right? Doing presentation, right? From the grammar part. Can you raise your hand for me, please, for anyone who have to responsible for, presentation for today class ใครนะจำไม่ได้ละ เดี๋ยวยกมือให้อาจารย์โดโดหน่อยฮะมีไหมgood right so shall we start I hope you guys check the attendance already, right? And after this I'm going to say that I'm going to stop my screen first and then I just let a student who have to do a presentation let you do a presentation here, okay? เดี๋ยวแป๊บนึงนะฮะ1 2ปั๊บไปเลยลองแชร์สกรีนเข้ามาได้นะครับ All right, if you're ready, you can start your presentation now, okay?
Good morning, everyone. Today I will present about tense, active, and passive voice. Sound difficult, but we will make it easy and fun for you. And these are all the topics we're going to look at today. 12 tense, active voice, passive voice, and activity. First, let's start with the present simple tense. When do you use present simple tense? The first usage is pretty easy. We use it to talk about fact, truth, and generalization. Let's look at some example. The sun is bright. That's a fact. It doesn't change so everyone knows that the sun is bright. Let's move on to the next usage. We also use the present simple tense to talk about habits and routine. For example, I always eat lunch at noon. You notice I use the adverb always, which is signal word for present simple tense. The second example, John plays games every day. Do you see a clue that helps you to know something that happens regularly? Well, it's every day. So it's something that happens as a routine or habit. Next, let's take a look at the third one. We also use the present simple tense with non-continuous, with thought, opinion, feeling, emotion, and our 5 senses. Let's look at the example. I love my mom. The word here is love, that and emotion, so I use the present simple tense. And the second example, they need help. We don't say we are needing help, even though it's happening right now. Needs is non-continuous verb, so we say they need help. Next, let's talk about present simple tense structure. For affirmative, we use the base form of verb. For example, you eat great. However, when the subject is singular, like he, she, or it, we need to add s or es at the end of the word in the present simple tense. For example, might eat bread. Let's continue to negative form for the present simple tense. That is do not and does not. The first example is you don't swim well. If the subject is I, you, we, or they, we use do not. What happens if the subject is he, she, or it? Well, look at the example. Mike doesn't eat bread. So you notice that I didn't move the S. Instead, I added does not. So if the subject is he, she, or it, we use does not to make it negative. Let's continue on. Now I talk about the question form for the present simple tense, and that is by using do or does. So let's take a look at this example. Do they live here? In order to turn into a question form, it's really simple. All we have to do is add do to the beginning and add the question mark at the end. So if the subject is I, you, we, or they, simply add do at the beginning of the question. How about this one? Does he play soccer? In this sentence, to turn into a question, I ask that at the beginning. You notice here is that no S at the end of play. Instead, I just use does at the beginning. For he, she, or it, we will put that at the beginning, and don't worry about putting an S or ES at the end of the word. Next topic, we're gonna look at the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense is used to talk about actions that are happening right now. For example, he's teaching English. We start with the subject, a be word. In case the subject is he, for the he, she, and it, we use is as the be word, and then as an ing to the end of the word. Another example, you are studying English. In this case, you notice that we use the be verb are. Can you figure out why? That's because your subject is plural. So if the subject is you, we, or they, we will use are as the be word. The present continuous tense is also used to describe a longer action in progress, even though you might not be doing the action right now. Let's take a look at some example. I am working at a company. In this case, the subject is I, so the be verb is am. Again, you notice there is an ing after the word. Let's continue. The present continuous tense is also used to talk about near future plans. For example, he is meeting some friend tonight. That's going to happen in the near future. Now let's talk about a form of present continuous tense. First, the negative form, we use the word not to add after is, am, or are. I have some example here. This example is for actions that are happening right now or longer actions. I am not having fun. And this example is for near future plans. You are not seeing him tonight. Let's move on. Now let's take a look at question form in present continuous tense. This example, is he waiting for you? We start with the be word. Take a look at the subject though. The subject is he, and that's why we start with the verb is. And you can answer yes, he is, or no, he isn't. Let's move on.
Move to present perfect. First, let's take a look at the structure. Affirmative form is subject with has or have with past participle. For the negative form, subject has not or has not with past participle, and the question form is has or have with subject and past participle. Present perfect tense have two actions. It has unfinished active and finished action. For the unfinished action, we use present perfect tense when we want to talk about unfinished action or state or habit that started in the past and continue to present. Usually, we use it to say how long and mean in or for to indicate the duration. How do we use in and for? We use in with a fixed time in the past. The fixed time can be another action which is in the past simple. I will show some examples. For example, I have liked chocolate since I was young, and we use for with a period of time. For example, she has lived in London for 2 years. Next to finish actions, the action or events that happen sometime during a personal life, we don't say when the experience happened and the person needs to be alive now. We often use the adverb ever in the present perfect to talk about experience up to the present. For the example, my last birthday was the birthday I have ever had, and we use never for the negative form. For example, have you ever met George? Yes, but I have never met his wife. finish action with focus. Finish action focus on a result in the present. We often use the present perfect to talk about something that happened in the recent past, but that is still true or important now. Sometimes we can use the past simple. For the example, I have lost my keys. We can also use the present perfect to talk about something that happened recently, even if there isn't a clear result in the present. We often use the word that, yet, already, and recently. For example, I have just seen Lucy. Next to present perfect continuous tense, we use the present perfect continuous tense to talk about a finished activity in the present past. Using the present perfect continuous focus on the activity, the present perfect continuous formula is for affirmative form. Subject with has, have, with been, and verb ing. For negative form, subject has not or has not, with been, and verb ing. For declaration form, has or have, plus with subject, with been, and verb ing. We don't give a specific time, even though the activity is finished, we can see the result in the present. For example, I have just been cleaning the car. For the example number 2, it's been snowing. Next, we use this sentence to talk about repeated activity we started at particular time in the past and are still continue up until now. For example, I have been going to Spain on holiday every year since 1987. Next example, I haven't been eating much lunch lately. I have been going to the gym at lunchtime. And we often use the present perfect continuous to ask and answer questions about the duration of an activity. For example, how long have you been watching movies? And move to past simple tense.
Past simple tense. The past simple tense can be used to describe an action that started and finished in the past. Let's take a look at this example. I lived in Thailand for 5 years. Remember, as a tip, the time expression usually appear at the beginning or at the end of the sentence in the past simple tense. Now let's take a look at this table. For regular verb, we add D or ED at the end of the verb. For example, John played games. John is a he, but really it doesn't matter in the past simple tense because no matter what the subject is, all we have to do is add D or ED at the end of the verb. However, for irregular verb, we have to change the verb in a different way. Let's take a look at some examples. I ate food with my friend. My parents sent me money for a year. Now I will talk about the negative form for the verb in the past simple tense. To create a negative sentence in the past simple, we use did not with the base of verb. Here are some examples. I not like him. He didn't catch the ball. And you notice that for the verb, we don't have to make any change. Next, I will introduce a question form of the past simple tense. To create a question, we will start the question with this. Then add a subject. It can be person or thing, followed by the verb form of word. Take a look at this example. Did Sam live here? You can say, yes, he did, or no, he didn't. Next, we will look at past continuous tense. Let's take a look at first usage of the past continuous tense. This tense can be used to describe an action that was ongoing in the past. Let's take a look at this example. I was walking in the park in this evening. So first, we start with the subject I. So, I, he, and it. We follow with was. And then add ing to the end of the word. Now take a look at the whole sentence. You can see an expression that shows action was happening in the past. Let's take a look at the next example. You were working at 9 p.m. For the subject, you, we, and they, we use were. Next. The past continuous tense is also used to describe an ongoing action in the past that was interrupted by another action. This interrupting action is used in the past simple tense with the word when. Let's take a look at this example. I was playing cards when you called. Again, we start with the subject, then was on or were, and then verb ing. So this is the action that was ongoing in the past. The interrupting action in this sentence is you call. You notice I use the word when to show the interrupting action, and I use is in the past simple tense, call. It's important to know that we can also switch the sentence around. For example, when you call, I was playing cards. Let's move on. Another usage for the past continuous tense is talk about two actions that were happening at the same time in the past. We were the past continuous tense for both actions with the word why. Let's take a look at some example. While I was playing soccer, she was watching me. Now you notice that in my example, the word why come at the beginning. For example, instead of saying this, while I was playing soccer, she was watching me, I can move why to the middle of the sentence. I was playing soccer while she was watching me. I can put the why between two actions. So it doesn't matter which action comes first. Let's continue on. Now let's talk about forming the past continuous tense. We use past continuous tense in a negative form. We start with the subject followed by was not or were not, and the verb with ing. For example, I was not playing football with when the phone rang. We use past continuous tense to express an action that didn't take place when another one occurred. Now let's talk about how to form a question for the past continuous tense. Take a look at this statement. It was raining this morning. In order to turn into a question, it's quite easy. All we have to do is change the order of the first two words. Instead of it was, now say, was it? To make it a question, you notice that the rest of the words stay in the same place. Was it raining this morning? You can answer by saying, yes, it was, or no, it wasn't.
Structure past perfect tense. A finished action of before a second point in the part. Let's take a look. Past perfect structure first. For affirmative, subject with had with past participle. For the negative form, subject with had not with past participle, and the question form is had with subject with past participle. We usually use the past perfect to make it clear which action happened first. Maybe we are already talking about something in the past and we want to mention something that is further back in time. This is often used to explain or give reason for something in the past. For example, it has no in night, so the past didn't alive. This sentence, this tense started in the past and continue up to another action or time in the past. The past perfect tells us how long the later present perfect, but this time the action continue up to a point in the past later than the present. For example, on the 20th of July, I had worked here for 3 months. Past perfect also talk about unreal or imaginary things in the past. For example, she would have passed the exam if she had studied harder. And then to past perfect continuous tense. This tense started in the past and continues to happen after another action and time in past. Namely, past perfect continuous tense tell us how long the active had continued. The duration of the action is emphasized more in this case. The formula for the past perfect continuous tense for alternative form, subject with had, with been, and verb ing. Negative form, subject with had, not, with been, and verb ing. And the question form is had, with subject, with been, and verb ing. Past perfect continuous different from the present perfect continuous with indicates an action that began in the past and has continued up to the present. The past perfect continuous indicates something that began in the past. Continue in the past and also in at divide point in past. For example, we had been drinking milk after Catherine when Mom walked into kitchen. I had been working at the company for 5 years when I got the promotion. When for since and before hours that you may see used alongside the past perfect continuous tense. For example, Martha has been walking 3 miles a day before she broke her leg. Brenda was 10 minutes had been running smoothly since August. Next to future simple tense.
For the first tense of the starting point from which we can move on to the next step, we will be able to understand this can be applied to various actions, including events that will wait a minute.แกเปลี่ยนเป็น future simple tense ได้ปะอันนี้มันเป็น future continue ใช่ Sorry, we will be able to understand this tense that the future simple tense can be applied to various actions, including events that will occur in the future. And most importantly, often has a past as word to tell us that this sentence is an event that will happen in the future. For example, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and soon. Future simple tense started. Affirmative sentence is subject plus will or shall plus verb infinitive. Negative sentence is subject plus will or shall plus not plus verb infinitive. And the last interrogative sentence is will or shall plus subject plus verb infinitive. Principle of using the future simple tense. For the use of future simple tense in the first manner, we can make our communications emphasize the intent or intend to make the events happen by using the verb to be past going to past verb infinitive instead of will or shall, such as I am going to buy food at the market. And most importantly, use to show that what we think or say is true beyond any doubt. It is used as follows. Be going to past verb infinitive, such as my sister is going to have a baby. Later is used to show predictions about events. It is used with the form will or shall past verb infinitive, such as I think taxi will arrive here next hour. Future simple tense example sentence is believed that many pupils may understand the patterns of this sentence more. The next part is to use the future simple tense with examples of uses as follows. Joseph said it will rain throughout the month. In reality, this is just a guess. It may not actually happen in the future. Next, I think my friends will come with us. It is a case that our friends may be inconvenienced or at least through any business that cannot come with us in the future. The next part is the future continuous tense. Which is the second tense in the future tense that will allow us to visualize what is going on but is happening in the future. It is expect that the event will take place during a specific or assumed time period. Future continuous tense structure. Affirmative sentence. Subjects plus will or shall plus be plus verb ing. Negative sentence. Subjects plus will or shall plus not plus be plus verb ing. Interrogative sentence. Will or shall plus subject plus be plus verb ing. Principles of using the future continuous tense. The next important part in using the future continuous tense completely is to understand the principle of using this tense. We will be able to say that the future continuous tense has the following principle. The first form we will apply to the two-time event that will occur after and before and has a structure that we must remember. Future continuous tense. Subject plus will or shall plus be plus verb ing for an action in the progress in the future. Present simple tense. Subject plus verb 1 for an event where we want to indicate a specific past in time relative to another event using future continuous. Example: when she arrived home, I will watching a car. And another important usage structure is to apply to an event that is about to happen in the near future by being at the time or date that we have predicted and specific, such as tomorrow at 9 a.m. I will be going to Bangkok, or I will be cleaning my room all day tomorrow. Future continuous tense sentence example. The future continuous sentence also has an interesting sample sentence format and can be remembered for applications as follows. She will be eating when I visit her at the restaurant. This sentence clearly indicates that one of the women we have mentioned will be waiting for us to eat at the restaurant where we had our appointments with her, perhaps for a meeting about work, or just meet up for a while to go to the next page. Next. Future perfect tense structure. Affirmative sentence, subject plus will or shall plus have plus verb to. Negative sentence is subject plus will or shall plus not plus have plus verb to. Interrogative sentence, will or shall plus subject plus have plus verb to. Principle of using the future perfect tense. We can use the future perfect tense in a variety of ways in our communication to create understanding between the sender and the receiver with the following formats. Apply to event that we have only predicted or to in advance. Can know if it will actually happen or not, and that is an important point that will not happen at the same time in the future. When that event has progressed until it is found that an event will have completely occurred before and is about to have another event that will follow. The structure can be used to write the sentence as follows. Future perfect tense is an action that will end in the future or takes place in the future. Present simple tense is an event where we want to indicate to decide parts of time relative to another event using the future perfect. The next form is applied to events that are clearly stated to occur in the future, and we will notice that there will be words or things that can tell the times at the future to buy it. It is often used to conjunctions with the word by for time, which means inside. Future perfect tense sentence example. And we can look at example sentence from the future perfect tense as follows. The movie will have started before they release the mall. The movie must be playing before we even get to the mall, which is a sentence that showed us because we may be stuck in the rainy traffic conditions, make it late to watch movie. At that moment, our movie has already started playing. Next, future perfect continuous tense. The final part of the future tense is the future perfect continuous tense, which will visualize a sentence that talks about an action or event, what we think and anticipate will happen and will continue to be carried out at the time we have clearly stated. Future perfect continuous tense structure. Affirmative sentence. Subject, past will or shall, past have, part be and part verb ing. Negative sentence. Subject, past will or shall, past not, past have, past been, past verb ing. Interrogative sentence is will or shall, past subject, past have, past been, past verb ing. Principle of using the future perfect continuous tense. When we see the word perfect together with continuous in the tense, it is important to remember that the future perfect continuous had the same uses as the future perfect tense. But there is an important addition that the use of these tense is to be seen about the continuity of the action. That event or actions will continue indefinitely even though the times already mentioned the action is still going on. There is no holiday over. Future perfect continuous tense example sentence. For the future perfect continuous tense, there are example sentences that can be used in communications as follows. How long will you have been working part-time here when you go to Bangkok next month? The meaning of this sentence is next month I arrive in Bangkok. You will work part-time in Bangkok. How long will you go? Emphasizing that this part the passing that this part-time work is in the future and that it will continue in the future. And all this is what is the basics for using future perfect continuous tense or the final tense of the future tense.
Natural active voice. As you know, in the active voice, the subject perform or carry out the action described by a verb. The object comes after the action. The active voice is the opposite of the passive voice, where the object of a sentence comes before the verb. In the passive voice, the main emphasis is on the thing having the action performed through it, rather than on the action or subject. The grammatical structure of subject with verb and object will be used in active voice. However, there will be a distinction in that the verb of the sentence will change depending on the tense. To understand active voice, let's take a look at active voice in several tenses. First, look at present tense. For present simple, subject with verb. For example, I make a cupcake. Present continuous, subject with is and are with verb ing. For example, I'm making a cupcake. Present perfect, subject with has or have, verb participle. For example, I have made a cupcake. Present perfect continuous. Subject with has or have and been and verb ing. For example, I have been making a cupcake. Next to past tense, past simple. Subject with verb to. I wrote a book. Past continuous. Subject with was or were and verb ing. I was writing a book. Past perfect. Subject with had and verb participle. I had written a book. For the past perfect continuous, subject with had, with been, and verb ing. Rồi. I have been writing a book. And the last, future tense. Future simple. Subject with will or shall and verb. I will write a book. Future continuous. Subject with will be and verb ing. For example, I will be writing a book. Future perfect. Subject with will have and verb participle. For example, I will have written a book. And the last, future perfect continuous. Subject with will have and been and verb ing. For example, I will have been writing a book. Do you see the difference of active voice in another sense? And let's take a look at passive voice.
Passive voice. Sentence with subjects as passive in English. Passive voice is a sentence that we can find commonly as well. Some people, when they see the passive voice sentence, get confused because the sentence cannot be described by any tense. Passive voice form subject past verb to be past verb 3. The subjects of the passive voice is the subject. All objects in the active voice sentence. The objects of passive voice is the role. All subjects in active voice sentence. The verb form in the passive voice sentence. Verb to be past verb 3. How to change sentence from active voice to passive voice. Before we can use passive voice fluently, whether listening, speaking, reading, or writing, we should first understand the origins of changing passive sentence from active and what are the principles of changing them. If we understand the sentence structure together with the use of verb tense well, then we will be able to speak, compose, or use passive sentence correctly according to the grammatical principles. 1. Swap the subjects and object. 2. Use the verb to be to help by looking at the tense of the sentence, whether to use is, am, as, or was, were, or has, have, been. And then should to use is to match the subject. 3. In the case of a sentence that already has a verb to be, such as a sentence in the continuous tense, keep the verb to be and use be being be instead of the verb to be in the passive sentence. 4. Real words in the sentence, no matter which tense it is in, change is to verb T. 5. If there is a chairman that turns into an object in the passive at the ends of the sentence after the word by. Let's try to change the sentence as follows. Your Noah's Harari's word sapiens a brief history of humankind. Change to sapiens a briefly history of humankind was written by Yuval Noah Harari. Explain the procedures. One, switch the subject to the objects after by in the passive sentence. 2. Swap comma sapiens are swap objects sapiens are brief history of humankind at the subject of a passive sentence. 3. Note that is in the past tense. In the past tense, the verb to be must be taken, which is was were and choose was because the subject friendly is the singular. Therefore, change the real word to verb. Verb passive voice be used and in worst case, transmitted sentence we use as active voice. The subject is already doing it. Now the question is when should we use passive voice? Emphasis or extend emphasis on those effects by the action, such as more were punished except him. This sentence implies the entire class punished, or my best was imports from Europe. This sentence implies that the bag is import from Europe. These pictures gonna show the structure of the passive verb in 12 tense, and we have the sample to show everyone. Next. This is the passive verb in 12 tense. You can look at this. For example, present simple. Then dance is kicked by down. Present continuous. A paper is being changed by am not. Present perfect. Religions have been practiced by people. Present perfect continuous. A bus has been being with. สมพร Past simple. Books were read by my father. Past continuous and articles was being written by me. Past perfect. Pens had been broken by me. Past perfect continuous and apple had been being eaten by me. Future simple. Breakfast will be had by me. Future continuous problem will be being solved by government. Future perfect reports will have been presented by students. And the last, future perfect continuous songs will have been being sung by me.
And finally, before we end this presentation today, we have an activity for you. I want to provide some choice exam that link with the reason we present today. Please enter the two curriculum number 697588. Is anyone still cannot join? For those who can't join in, I will be sending the link on the Slack group. Mm. As I told you, I have a prize for the winner who gets the highest score. You will get 8,000 views for our group. Are you ready? Okay, if you're ready, get started. Please call your friend for a moment. Okay, it's karma. The winner is Supajit. Congratulations, Supajit. Supajit, please send QR code for our NUM account to receive your prize.
Wait, what account again? What account?
Your account number or QR code or homepage. Then in line.
All right. Grand, right? Okay, good. Thank you so much for a good presentation for today's class. Ah, กลับต้องมาเรียนแล้วแหละนะ everybody, all right? Can I do that? Okay. So again, right? For English, for a group presentation, just make sure that you send the PDF file, right? For your slide presentation, and then just send it into the line group, and that's it. I'm going to make sure that you're done for a presentation already. โอเคนะฮะโอเคไหมโอเคกด1เข้ามานิดนึงต้องเรียนละนะเดี๋ยวไปเรียน speaking 10 โมงแล้วเนี่ยครึ่งชั่วโมงกว่า All right, so I would say that what we're going to do for today's class is this, okay? Before we break, I can say, let me explain a bit for this kind of questions. If you have time, we can random, right? Some of you may think that if you want to share the ideas, just go ahead. But if you don't, that is the reason that I have to pick your name from the line group and then ask one by one. So try to do volunteer first. I would say that it might be okay or effective for your learning participation here. Again, right? This activity is this kind of interactive activity. I just want you to share the idea. What's going to happen and try to think about it. I mean, think about the situation in the following context, okay? So the first one is that prediction, okay? Basically, you need to predict something, what will happen in the future. Let's say like if you are going to apply for a job, just because you are third-year students, right? I would say that you are going to finish university or will be graduating next year. Once you have to, go into the, let's say, workplace or even the international company, things like that, right? Just try to assume or predict that problems or even issues that can occur or even happen to the international company. For example, like if you do something related to marketing or even purchasing or collaboration with your teamwork, what kind of situation that you can come up with that? I would say that try to raise the problem first and then try to find a solution. Just because when you can predict this kind of thing, I would say that in the real test, especially for listening, right? Listening part 3, conversation, all of situations can be found or can be taken from the the real situation in that company. So I would say that if you can think of it, it might be easy for you to do the test properly. All right. If you really like A, just choose A and then share the idea to your classmate here. Second part is that you can predict or even guess the particular problem, such as delay, right? Delay. For example, if you have to send this product to the customer on time, just because we have to talk about the online purchasing. Some kind of customer may argue that, oh, I didn't get it yet. So how could you do that? Things like that. So here, when it comes to solve the problem like this, you need to make sure that you are responsible for that properly. I mean, maybe let's say like you have to write such a comment or email or like just try to reply back to that customer in order to make sure that you say something let's say try to responsible, right, for what you have done if it happens to mistake. And yeah, this kind of thing. So again, right, try to imagine or predict something happen in the future based on what you are going to see in your workplace. That's all. Understood? ใครเข้าใจแล้วกด2เข้ามานิดนึงครับ1 2 3นั่นแหละวันๆนะฮะออนไลน์ไม่ยากทีนี้ให้เวลานะฮะ I'm going to give you for 5 minutes just because it's a little bit tough and we can share. Maybe you don't have to talk long. I would say that just talk what you think of, and if you're ready, just turn on the microphone because I think that you can do volunteer first and after because I don't want to force anyone to talk to. Yeah, all right. Okay, again, right? Just having a time for you. Maybe I'm going to give you for 5 minutes. If you finish before 5 minutes, just turn on the microphone and then share the idea to your classmate here. Yep. Okay, anyone want to share the idea here? You can turn on the microphone and then just talk. Just want to hear from you here. ถ้าไม่มีไอต้อง random นะ all right good
ข้อ A อะค่ะ
okay so you choose A right so what do you think about this kind of issue or problems here
I think it's relates with the communication.
related to communication how communication what is kind of communication yeah
Like if someone in the team goes wrong with the communication or not have enough effective with the communication, it may be like go to lead the problems or errors with the work.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing here. Yeah, good. So she said that it's about like if we didn't have a better command of communication, or even you say something wrong, or you do not know what you're going to say to the other people. For example, like if you have to tell something to your boss, you have to tell something directly, right? It means that it's clear and prompt to the task at that time. So if this is something happen in the real workplace, it may cause a problem for misunderstanding or even this kind of thing may happen later. Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type done for me, please. Done ก็มานะครับ done ได้ไหมเราชื่ออะไรเมื่อกี้821ป่ะ all right great thank you so much for your kindly participate here anyone want to share the idea here you can turn on the microphone and then talk
Oh, hello.
yep
I want to choose B.
B-boy good so yeah what kind of problem or even like solution that you can solve this kind of problem when it happened
Like, for example, a problem could be like a wrong product being delivered or something like that. And to me, the way if I want to solve this problem, I can have a reason with the customer, like try to apologize about the product that they receive and try to get them a correct product as quickly as possible.
So you have to, you have to say something that you have a responsibility to deal with this kind of a problem, right? A position or even the task, the role, or the person who can deal with that problem, and just give the, let's say information to them, right? Why not, or things like that, and then just make sure that they understood and they agree upon to you. Am I correct?
Yes.
Things like that. Okay, good. Just type done for me, please, because this is the way that I just want to make sure that everyone stay in the same page and you can improve your thinking skill. Just because when it comes to the real world of working place, I can say that doing a TOEIC test is just only the first start for your working or career in the future. But when it comes to see something more, more realistic, how can I say, like a realistic, or it happens in the reality, I would say that this kind of problems can happen. And the key is that some of you, or maybe all of you, have to deal with this kind of problem and solve solutions here. Good. Just type done หรือยัง done แล้วนะ okay move ขออีกสักใครก็ได้นะฮะyou can turn on the microphone first and then just talk about it สัก5 คนบอกนะจะได้ไปเบรกมาแล้วมา okay
B ค่ะ
all right you choose B right any problem that you can solve in workplace?
I will comment in the comment block box in like Shopee is have comment so other people will not buy this shop again.
So is that the negative comment, or you're just responsible for negative comment, or simple comment too, or like positive comment also reply to, right? What kind of comment that you want to solve it? Yeah.
I think it's just simple comment like this shop is so delayed. Don't buy it like this.
And then you respond to them like, "Oh, I'm sorry." What would you wrote? I mean, what will you write on that comment if you want to solve this kind of problem? Maybe say thank you, right? Thank you for purchasing. I'm not doing so next time, things like that. Just imagine that. Okay, let's say like, thank you so much for your sharing here. Just type done for me, please. Okay. So I can say she raised a very good point and interesting topic to all of us to share the ideas together. When it comes to see the comments, right? So some comments may be nasty or even hectic, or it can consider to be how can I say? Let's say like a negative, right? So sometimes like we have to analyze this kind of text and then try to put the fact or information to that comment properly. So this is very hard and difficult. So we have to learn more about how to write, how to convey such a message into the customer in the right direction. But otherwise, I think that apart from that, for some comments, for example, like positive comments, let's say like, this job is very great, fantastic, or awesome. What I'm saying here is that you have to reply back to. It's such a responsibility, right? Just because, let's say like, thank you, whatever here. So this kind of thing that we have to learn when it comes to working in the real world. Yeah. อีกสักคนหนึ่งได้ไหม เดี๋ยวเราไปเบรกกันนะฮะ เบรกสัก10 ครึ่ง โอเค Anyone want to be a volunteer? And then just share the idea from this kind of question. นะนี่ไงมาแล้วจัดไปครับ
First of all, I will apologize to them and tell them why we have a delay in delivering, such as it occurred by transportation, moreover giving them compensations for delaying.
Great. Good.
Yes.
Okay, so you just raise the yes, just type done for me, please. You just raise the example of like why did it delay, right? Why did it delay? Well, why does it delay, right? So it means that you have to find out the information or make it clear to give them the information about transportation. It can be happen, right? It can be happen that delay. It doesn't mean that we don't put effort to do so, but it's just kind of problem that we have not an ability to control it. So this is very important to make sure that in order to deliver at the right time, right? So we have to make sure that we have to deal with it as customers firsthand, and then after that, just go into the step by step. That is the reason that we have to solve this kind of problem in the real world workplace. ครับ อีกสักคนหนึ่งป่ะนะฮะก่อนไปเบรก กันยังไม่ดันภาษาใดได้ภาษาอังกฤษใช่ครับไม่เป็นไรฮะไม่ serious ดันนะ anyone want to share? I just want the last one to finish this talk, and then we can go for break, maybe 10 15 minutes. And we have to go through the concept of studying today. ไม่เป็นไร Don't worry, be happy. Okay, I think all of you want to take time. I mean, take a break, right? Okay, so just go for break, and then we can come back to เบรกกี่นาทีดีอ่ะ15 นาทีได้ไหมอยากกินกาแฟนิดนึงนะ Okay, so see you everyone at 10 and 40. It's okay? 10 and 40, right? อย่าเพิ่งไปไหนนะฮะ ยังเรียนอยู่
อาจารย์ค่ะ
นะครับ let's มาเช็คอีกคนตอนนี้ all right it's nice to hear from you yeah shall we move to the second part of that activity right 3.12 จริงๆแล้ววันนี้แบบเราเปิด floor present นะฮะไม่เป็นไรแต่ว่าต้อง cover ให้หมดเพราะมันคือ topic Again, right? I'm going to continue the second part for the discussion part. Again, just choose only one out of three, right? So we can see from A, B, and C. Discussion again. This one is straightforward to the TOEIC test, or how well you can prepare the TOEIC preparation here. I can say that the first question is that do you think listening skills are effective for the face-to-face communication? My idea, the idea is that do you think it is important to listen when it comes to expose or even listen a lot more information from different people? So for example, now we are going to study online, right? Meeting or video conferences, telephone conversation, which can have a different dialect or even a different pronunciation, different style of speaking, or even different, nations, basically Indian accent or even Filipino accents or, Chinese or American British accent, things like that. Is it important to listen, exposed to this kind of listening skill when it comes to do the TOEIC test? Okay, this is the first question that you have to discuss or share the information to me. Second, we can see that do you think reading skills are necessary for email, written report, newsletter, and other forms of business correspondence? How? So here we have to emphasize on the role or the skill of reading comprehension. I can say that for a reading test in the TOEIC test, it is mainly found for the email, right? Such as email, sending email messages, email or written report or newsletter here, and some kind of a business correspondence, for example, like notice or even memorandum that has been released from the company, things like that. So my question is that you need to elaborate, you need to extend the idea that reading skill, let's say like you have to read fast, you have to read comprehensively or in order to make sure that you understand something properly here, and then try to see the relevant, the connection of the email and written report newsletter here. So is that possible for you to make sure that your reading skill reach into that expected level and you can get the score from a TOEIC test here? The last question here, do you think TOEIC score can advance your future career? As English is standard language, right, for global company or global opportunities in that workplace. For the last question, you have to understand the situation that for the job recruitment, they're gonna have like a first priority for the TOEIC test or TOEIC score as evaluate their own proficiency test here. And my question for this question is that do you think it is important or not? Once you got a high or let's say like better score at the TOEIC, right, and then you can get a chance to go further or even to get something better in the realm or in the working competition or job recruitment competitions here. Great, Adrian. It's a little bit detailed, but I think it is useful for all of us to have sharing the ideas together. And again, right, just choose only one of three out of three. I mean, if you choose A, just responsible for listening skill. If you choose B, you can extend why reading skill is important. And if you choose C, just elaborate the idea that TOEIC matters for working in the future. That's it. Everyone agree, right? พิมพ์ C นิดนึง ถ้าเข้าใจพิมพ์ C ไหมฮะ A B C พิมพ์ง่ายๆเปล่าไม่ต้องคิดมาก Nah. Again, all right. I'm going to give you for 5 minutes to prepare for this kind of discussion first. And then if you're ready, You don't have to spend for 5 minutes, right, to prepare for that, but I just like a well for you for 5 minutes. If you're ready, just choose and then turn on the microphone and share a bit, and I'm going to summarize the idea for all of us together. Yeah. Okay, I think some of you may have the idea to share to your classmate here, right? If you're ready, just turn on the mic. นี่ไงมาแล้วไปครับจัดเลยคุณน้อง
I think the TOEIC score can update our future. I choose C option. I think the TOEIC score can upgrade our future career because the TOEIC test nowadays is it like they consider the basic score for like everyone who wants to know what's the like level of the English. And for example, some of allies still accept the TOEIC score for job application. So I think like if we have the TOEIC score, for sure it can upgrade our like future career.
All right, thank you so much for your sharing the idea here. Good. หนูพิมพ์คำว่า perfect เข้ามาหน่อย Just type perfect to me, please, because you have done or sharing the idea, which is perfectly draw the information here. Anyone want to share? Just turn on the microphone and choose. Let's choose different question. It's quite good, just because I think you can share. I do believe that learning is sharing, right? If you share something, it can come up with the summary here. ครับผมแป๊บหนึ่งนะ good. Next.
May I choose number C too?
Yep มาเลย
I think TOEIC score is helpful for my future career. It increased my chance of getting into the job more than none. And moreover, if applying for a job, I can also submit TOEIC score for studying abroad. So I think TOEIC is important to increase my future prospects. Yes, that's it.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Great. Just type perfect to me, please, in the chat soon, right? Okay, good. I can say that, yeah, you have shown the ideas that very interesting and hit to the goal or expectation of how to learn or how to prepare the TOEIC test. Basically, we have to understand the TOEIC proficiency test first. So it seeks your ability to communicate in the, real international world setting. I mean, lots of international companies are required ask you to submit this kind of TOEIC test. So once you got the impressive score, I can say that if you get above 700, 750, 800, or whatever beyond than that, it seems to you that you're going to have a chance or opportunity to go for the, this kind of acceptance of their recruitment. So I can say that if you can prepare a bit and then you can master this kind of skill of listening skill or even reading skill here and got an impressive score, and you can open the door a chances are, right, for you to get this kind of thing later. Perfect. เข้ามาแล้วนะ anyone want to share the ideas, just because I think some of you may find it is interesting to explore this kind of idea here. If you want to share, just raise your hand. No, it's not raise your hand. Just turn on the microphone and go ahead. Yeah.
I choose A item.
Good.
I think listening skills is very like effect to the communication, because if you have a good listening skills, it will not cause the wrong message to be sent. And if you listening clearly, you will be like respond effectively.
Great.
And be able to build good relationships with the customer or others.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing here. Just type perfect for me, please. Okay, good. So one of your friends sharing that the listening skill is quite important, just because it may cause a problem if you didn't pay any attention to that, the message intended, or even the purpose of that message, right? So I can say that for the listening skills, it's kind of like it is a skill for speaking skill too. I mean, what I mean by that is that if you pay attention or look at the listening skill or comprehend, understand what they are saying, so you might be able to respond to question or even talk to them properly or effectively too. And also the way that you have to put into practice a lot more about listening conversation or effective communication in the real world setting. So I mean here is that if we can improve our listening skill and master it, right? To make sure that you understand, you can listen, active listen, comprehensive listen here from other people, and you might be able to produce your way of speaking that suit to that context too. So I'm saying here just because it is very important to see the relevance between listening skill and speaking skill hand in hand, right? Okay. Perfect เข้ามาแล้วอีกสักข้อหนึ่งนะฮะ anyone want to share แชร์ได้นะฮะNice to hear from you ใครอยากพูดข้อ reading บ้างanyone want to share number 2
Can I?
Yep มาเลย
I choose B because I think reading skill is really necessary. Well, like when I read something, I will get the point, get the essential information that it want to tell me, and if I read a lot, I know a lot of words, and then I will good at writing skills.
Great. Thank you so much for your sharing. Can you just type perfect for me, please? Okay. หนูพิมพ์ perfect เข้ามาก่อนนะ perfect ทุกคนนะ All right, so I can say that this for the second question is that the reading skills, right? When it comes to C for the TOEIC test, we have to focus just only for reading the text, or the types of text must be straightforward to the business. I mean, you have to understand the email, right? The cause of a problem, or why did she or he write the email to you. And second part is that we have to find like the reply email in what sense, in a positive sense, or in in a positive sense, or in a negative sense, or in a kind of like a problem solution in that sense, right? So here it's all about like critical thinking that you have to add for more into the reading skill. I can say that if you improve that thinking skill for reading skill, right? I mean, you can be able to finish and then become a fluent reader. Just because when it comes to see the test of reading test, especially for the TOEIC test, you are running out of time. I mean, you don't have time just because the time is limited for the test. And also that you have to make sure that you finish, let's say 100 items, or most of the time that you can, don't do some part of it just because it's a long passages, right? So we have to just pick up what you are sure enough to do so. This is kind of technique or reading strategy that we are going to discuss for more, maybe next class or next following class again, right? But I would say that for reading skills, it's kind of important too that some of your friends raised that if you're good enough at reading, you can be better at writing too, just because you can gain or understand the way to use vocabularies, right? Or even grammar part, thing like that. You absorb a lot from the reading skill here, and you can master or become a good user of English here. Good. Thank you so much for your sharing here. ประมาณนั้นนะครับ move ไปละ All right, I just sent you the listening part just because we are running out of time, so I just let you listen, right? Let you listen as a homework. I think it's okay for you, right? Okay ไหมโอเคพิมพ์โอเคจะได้ไม่ต้องฟังใน class. All right, this is very important for all of you to practice a bit. I just sent you the link from the YouTube. And if you can practice, really appreciate to do so. So you just focus on part 3, right? Part 3 conversation is a bit time, but I don't think that it's about like 15 minutes as your homework here. Once you do, right, I would recommend for practicing a listening test for 2 times. The first one is that you just listen based on your own understanding. I mean, you can practice, or you can do the test that is just one single time, in only single time, and then after that, when you see your mark, I mean you correct your mark, you can see the percentage. For example, like if you did 40 questions and you got correct 35, it means that you get 80%, right? And after that, you just listen again and see the lyric, right? In order to make sure that what you missed from that question is that the skill you listen, or is that the way that you misplace or even choose the correct one. I mean, try to make sure that the second part you read the subtitle again. It might consume. I mean, it might cause a time a lot, but it works for you at the end. So I would suggest that for listening part 3 is a kind of like a very important for you to how can I say? Very important to you to get a high score, right? And after that, if you can do it properly, you can master your listening in the real world too, just because it's a kind of a standard spoken communication here. Yep. งั้นฝากเป็นการบ้านนะทุกคนมาพิมพ์โอเคนิดนึงโอเคเข้ามาเลยครับเราจะได้ไปเรียนพาร์ท 2วันนี้ปิด 11:15 พอแป๊บเดียวนะโอเค 11:30 ละดูทรงละเพราะมันต้องสอนอะไรนิดหน่อยเดี๋ยวขอดูก่อนนะแป๊บหนึ่งAlright. งั้นเราปิดไวๆแล้วกันนะฮะทำโจทย์ครับทุกคนพิมพ์เข้ามาเลย1 2ใครได้คำตอบแล้วพิมพ์เข้ามาในแชทเลยครับ เฮ้ยแบบหนึ่งเป็นไงบ้างนะฮะข้อหนึ่งตอบอะไรดีเปลี่ยนเป็นภาษาไทยดีกว่านะติวมันพูดภาษาอังกฤษยาก I'd like to apologize for the noise level 2 which is due to maintenance work carried out on the promise. Okay, so we can see this one is that which is we got verb to be already, right? So that means we don't have verb to be here. Was crossed out. Is being crossed. หมายถึงว่า cross ไปก่อนนะเหลือแค่ to be กับ being ครับbilingual นิดหนึ่ง is being ไม่ได้เพราะว่ามัน is ไปแล้วงงไหมไม่งั้นมันจะตีกันนึกภาพอธิบายเราใช้ verb to be 2 ตัวไม่ได้ is that right แล้วเราได้ carried out ไปแล้วนั่นหมายว่าเราต้องตอบเป็น being อันนี้เป็น tricky ของตัวข้อสอบนะฮะทุกคนพิมพ์ C ให้จานิดนึง C แต่ว่าผิดถูกไม่เป็นไรนะครับเราต้องเรียนนะฮะ learning is sharing that's okay for doing mistake just because this is a test and this is the exam you have to know and pay attention and look at the structure but what I can see what I can teach you here is just like straightforward to the answer and then try to explain a bit but sometimes like if it's easy I just let it go just because I do understand that all of you can understand what I'm saying here นะบางข้อที่มันง่ายเนี่ยก็จะไปไวนิดหนึ่งนะฮะข้อเราจะจับข้อสำหรับข้อที่เป็นทริคเท่านั้นนะฮะไปครับข้อ2อยู่อันนี้ง่ายครับใครตอบได้ A พิมพ์มาเลย organizer plural form เบอร์นี้แสดงว่าต้องเป็นSV agreement ถูกไหมฮะเราพูดถึง SV agreement หมายถึงว่า subject and verb agreement compiling ไม่ได้เพราะว่ามันยังไม่มี verb to be compiling ไม่ได้อย่า to compile เพราะฉะนั้นคำตอบลงไปที่ are compiling เก่งไหมพิมพ์ดีมากเลยดีมาเลย did they ขอ move อย่างรวดเร็วนะฮะถ้าได้แล้วปุ๊บพิมพ์เข้ามาปุ๊บไปเลยไปครับข้อ3 I regret to วันนี้ข้อสอบเยอะนิดแน่นอนQ3 น่าจะเยอะหน่อยนึง20ข้อไม่เป็นไรรีบนิดนึงso I regret to say update inform report ถ้าเกิดว่าเป็น verb พวกนี้เนี่ยให้เราจับแต่ละ choice เนี่ยไปใส่เลยนะฮะโอเคป่ะอันนี้ต้องเป็น inform you is that right พิมพ์ C ครับพิมพ์ตามเลยไม่ต้องแปลเยอะนะฮะอันนี้เป็นเรื่องของการใช้ word choice เนี่ยแนะนิดนึงก็คือว่าให้เราแปลนะครับซึ่งส่วนใหญ่เราแปลได้อยู่แล้วก็แค่แบบเช็คว่าตัวไหน make sense แค่นั้นไปที่4ครับตัวนี้วัดในเรื่องของ pronoun reference นะฮะก็คือ refer ถึงตัวไหนโน่นนี่นั่นยังไงตอบข้อไหนดี Mr. Chen นะฮะ male for sure right so the answer we go for C อันนี้เป็นข้อสอบ midterm นะไม่ยากพิมพ์ C ครับอาจารย์พิมพ์ก็เหมือนกันอาจารย์ก็พิมพ์ด้วยเราก็พิมพ์ด้วยนะฮะโอเค good thank you so much for your sharing ครับ next 5 และ 6 ครับใครได้คำตอบแล้วพิมพ์เข้ามาเลยไม่ต้องรอเพื่อนนะแบบได้ปุ๊บเข้ามาเลยฮะมันนะครับเด็กอินเตอร์ we noticed that the payment for your electricity bill is overdue please note that ยังไงฮะuntil if unless whether สมมุติว่าเราใช้ unless ตัวนี้มันคือเท่ากับ if not ถ้า not ไป not มันตีกันใช่ป่ะตัดครับ unless ไม่เอา whether or ก็ไม่เอาเหมือนกัน until กับ if เหลือข้อเดียวตอบข้อไหนครับ until ไม่ได้เหมือนกันต้องตอบดีแล้วแหละนะโอเค so for this question you have to translate a bit just because I'm going to say that this one is that if you translate from cause and effect so you can go directly to the answer here ก็คือแปลงเดียวนะครับตอบ B ไปที่6ครับอยู่สังเกตอันนี้ฟอร์มเหมือนกันหมดเลยนะฮะเปลี่ยนแค่ es ing ed แล้วก็ tion นะครับตอบข้อไหนดี bean เบอร์นี้ ed แล้วแหละตอบข้อagain นะสมมติเราเจอคำว่า been ปุ๊บให้เราจับให้เป็นอยู่ในรูปของ past participle หรือว่า verb ช่องที่3เพราะฉะนั้นคำตอบเนี่ยมันก็เลยต้องลงไปที่distributed ข้อสอบที่เป็นฟอร์มพวก ing es นะฮะ ed หรือว่า tion ที่เป็นฟอร์มทั้งหมดเป็น part of speech เนี่ยวิธีการดูก็คือว่าให้เราดู structure ก่อนหลัง let's say ว่าตัวนี้มัน been fixed ถูกไหมฮะเพ ราะฉะนั้นให้นึกก่อนเลยเป็นเป็น ed หรือว่า ing something แต่ทีนี้เนี่ย differentiation หรือว่าความต่างของ ing กับ ed คือสมมุติว่าถ้าเกิดว่าเราเป็นเราใส่เป็น ing นะฮะมันจะแปลว่า action ongoing it means that you have to make sure that the agent is a person and doing something on themselves on its own, right? But for the past participle, you have to make sure that this one is that the object or things has been done, distributed here. ตอบ C นะพิมพ์ C ยังพิมพ์ C นิดนึงโอเค6 และ 7ครับไปเลย8 9 7 8ตอบข้อไหนดี secretary minute during take นะอันนี้เป็นเขาเรียกว่า colloquial word หมายความว่าคำที่ต้องมาเป็นคู่กันเช่นเราบอกว่าtake a break อันนี้เป็น formal form ของฝรั่งใช่ไหมnative speaker จะใช้คำว่า take a break อะไรอย่างเงี้ยตัวนี้เหมือนกัน take a minute นะครับ make mistake is that right อันนี้เป็น colloquial word นะครับเดี๋ยวเราค่อยมาไล่กันเพียงแต่ว่าถ้า straightforward ในเรื่องของข้อสอบก็คือ take minute that's it ก็คือ to เปลี่ยนเป็น verb ช่องที่2ตอบ A ครับใครอยากได้ A พิมพ์ A once the account has been created อันนี้ been เหมือนกันใช่ไหม ed เหมือนกันเลยปั๊บทีนี้ต้องเช็คในเรื่องของความหมายโอเคป่ะ once the account has been created the user ไง will be asked to re-enter the login name and password อันนี้ตอบ A เหมือนกันพิมพ์ A มาเลยนะครับทุกคนสามารถตอบ A ได้นะครับพิมพ์ได้ออนไลน์ก็จะแบบพิมพ์เน้นพิมพ์ซะส่วนใหญ่แล้วก็ฟังแค่นั้นต่อนะยูน่าจะมี20 ข้อไม่เป็นไรครับไหนๆก็ต้องทำข้อสอบแล้ว9 และ 10ครับใครชีทอาจารย์ส่งไปให้ในไลน์หรือยังเหรอครับเหมือนจะส่งไปให้แล้วนะส่งตั้งแต่วันศุกร์โอเคเราสามารถดูตามhandout ที่ส่งไปให้ก็ได้นะครับ right so 9นะครับ I'd like to show appreciation is that right D พิมพ์ D มาเลยนะครับเก่งมากพิมพ์ได้ทุกคนพิมพ์ได้นะครับมันไม่ได้ยากนะนั้นโอเคอันนี้ไม่ยากนะครับอันนี้ถ้าดูตามฟอร์ม part of speech ทุกคนดูนะถ้าเป็น part of speech เนี่ยเราจะเห็นว่ามันจะมี verb ขึ้นก่อนแล้วก็ plus noun ถูกไหมตาม structure นะฮะซึ่งให้มาเนี่ยเป็น noun หมดเลยเจ้าตัว credit ก็ทำหน้าที่เป็น noun ได้เหมือนกันและทำหน้าที่เป็น verb ได้เหมือนกันจุดตัดความยากของการดูฟอร์มในภาษาอังกฤษก็คือว่าคำหนึ่งคำเนี่ยสามารถทำหน้าที่ได้หลายอย่างเช่นคำว่า credit ตัวนี้นะครับthat's it นะแต่ว่าข้อนี้ตอบ appreciation ข้อ10ตอบอะไรดีอันนี้ไม่ยากเลยครับ ly ถูกไหมเพราะว่า1เราต้องการ adverb describe outperform ตอบข้อ B บ้างพิมพ์ B มีมาเลย okay good that's it อย่างรวดเร็วนะฮะเพราะเราต้องปิดก่อน 11 ครึ่ง okay those who volunteer to work in the festival right were given free t-shirts and gift certificate out of of ตัวนี้เนี่ยตามด้วย now ใช่ไหม appreciation แล้วก็ appreciatively เหมือนเดิมเลย appreciation ตอบ C นะทุกคนพิมพ์ C เลยพิมพ์ C นิดนึง C อาจารย์พิมพ์ด้วยนะครับเดี๋ยวเขาบอกว่าต้องทำให้เห็นและเป็นให้ดู ก็คือพิมพ์เข้าไป ให้เราพิมพ์ตามนะ alright next the meals served as night meal take A สังเกตตัวนี้น่าสนใจตรงที่ว่ามันเป็น word order คำว่า word order คือคำที่มันเรียงกันนะฮะเราได้คำว่า time เราได้คำว่า long เป็น adjective ก่อนหน้า adjective ต้องเป็น adverb ใช่ไหมครับทุกคนเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเป็น adverb ข้อนี้ตอบ relatively is that right โอเคตอบดีครับจำคำตอบไว้ด้วยนะเวลาเขาเรียกว่าไปสอบปุ๊บเราก็จะได้แบบไม่ต้องคิดเยอะก็คือเห็นโจทย์ปุ๊บตอบได้เลยนะฮะสมมติใครที่จริงๆแล้ว exemption ควรจะใช้ข้อสอบ TOEIC นะฮะแต่ว่าไม่เป็นไรก็ถือว่าเป็น proficiency test เหมือนกัน13 และ 14ครับต่อนะ20 ข้อเลย After much discussion about the office show internet connection it was decided that that the article the ด้วยเพราะฉะนั้นถ้า refer ถึง the แสดงว่าต้องเป็นspecific is that right specific ต้องมีแค่ตัวเดียวครับ simplify ไม่เอา simply simplification แล้วก็ simplest ตอบ deduct ครับทุกคนพิมพ์ D Lucis lotion ครับผมยังไงฮะ available Disney department store cannot be found anywhere อันนี้ไม่ยากครับ available แต่ให้มาคือ ly หมดเลยถูกป่ะ ly 1 ly 2 ly 3 ly 4และทีนี้สิ่งที่เราต้องเช็คก็คือว่า meaning in context ยังไงแปลถูกไหมฮะข้อนี้สังเกตว่าเขาบอกว่า cannot be found anywhere เพราะฉะนั้นตอบเป็น C exclusive is that right พิมพ์ C ครับพิมพ์ C เลยใครที่ยังอยู่ด้วยกันพิมพ์ C นะใครที่อยู่นี่แสดงว่าให้เกียรติอาจารย์โจโจ้นะฮะการให้เกียรติคนเป็นสิ่งที่ดีเขาบอกนะครับแต่อย่าคาดหวังเลยฟิลนั้นไปที่15ครับอยู่ Mr. Chang asked the other board member to think about their would like to nominate the next chairperson ข้อนี้เป็น pronoun reference นะครับเราจะโฟกัสที่ subject plus verb ถ้าเราวัดในเรื่องของrelative clause เนี่ยเจ้าตัว who which that เนี่ยมันจะสำคัญใช่ไหมฮะแต่ถ้าเกิดว่ามันมี subject plus verb อย่างเงี้ยเนี่ยแสดงว่าเราต้องการที่ตัวที่เป็น object ลงไปที่ข้อเดียวคือ whom พิมพ์อะไรดีพิมพ์ A นิดนึงพิมพ์ A มันจะ tricky หน่อยนะโอเคเพราะว่าถ้าเกิดว่าเราตอบ which เนี่ยมันจะไม่ specific ถ้า that ตัวนี้คือ specific แต่ว่า refer ที่ไม่ใช่คนอีกทีหนึ่งนะฮะเป็นเขาเรียกว่า definite indefinite เดี๋ยวรอทีม present relative clause น่าจะวิกท้ายๆหน่อยนะฮะแล้วก็สุดท้ายคือ whose ตัวนี้ก็คือว่าเป็น what is that whose ก็คือแสดงความเป็นเจ้าของถูกไหมฮะถ้าเป็น possession เนี่ยเราจะ plus ด้วย noun ตัวนี้จะ tricky ในเรื่องของ structure นิดหนึ่งนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นอยู่ต้อง double check ก็คืออ่าน2รอบสำหรับข้อที่เป็น grammar นะ that's it 16ครับตอบข้อไหนดีใครตอบได้พิมพ์เข้ามาเลยนะฮะไม่ต้องรอเพื่อนนะครับเพราะว่าเราจะได้จบไวๆโอเคป่ะelevator for Mr. Bennings highly อะไรดี highly capable of ตัวนี้คือ fix นะครับคำที่เป็นเขาเรียกว่าคำ preposition เนาะprepositional phrase something พวกนี้หรือไม่ก็แบบ adjective plus preposition อันนี้เราต้องจำเช่น confident ตามด้วย to หรือเปล่า grounded ตามด้วย at หรือเปล่า persuasive ตามด้วยอะไรหรือเปล่าเพราะฉะนั้นต้องอาศัยการจำเป็น memorization นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นคือคนพิมพ์ C นิดนึงพิมพ์ deduct นิดนึงดีขึ้นมาเลยนะ17 18อีก4ข้อครับผมมา Several complaints about the new security system. Chambers Corporation have decided to continue using it for now, in spite of, because except for close to. In spite of อันนี้ต้องแปลถูกไหมหรือ because ยังไม่ใช่ประโยคถ้าเป็น because ต้องเป็น because of is that right in spite of A ครับผมพิมพ์ A ใช่ไหมis that right A เข้ามาเลยครับใครพิมพ์ให้ A นะฮะเพราะว่าเราพิมพ์ A เป็นการย้ำว่าเราต้องได้ A เท่านั้นนะฮะ that's it even after presenting a case of the board Mr. Wright failed to persuade them to invest in the development project ตอบข้อไหนดีอันนี้ต้องเป็น convince ถูกไหมฮะ case คือหมายถึงว่าเขาพยายาม convince และสุดท้ายสังเกตว่าคำศัพท์พวกนี้เนี่ยหรือว่าการแปลอะไรก็ตามแต่ต้อง in pragmatic หรือว่า sense ของการตอบนิดหนึ่งนะฮะข้อนี้ตอบ convince C พิมพ์ C มานิดหนึ่ง C มาเลย say set อีกนิดหนึ่งอยู่19และ20ยังไม่ไปไหนนะฮะThe bank officer, the bank officer that is would make Gordon 2 more years to settle his remaining debt if he continued to repay it in a small amount. Divided, deducted, calculated, like a prolonged. ต้องเป็น calculated ตัวนี้เท่ากับคำว่า estimated. Is that right? Estimate ก็คือประเมิน calculate ก็คือคำนวณพิมพ์ C แล้วล่ะนะสุดท้ายครับอยู่ purchasing manager ไปเร็วนิดนึงนะไม่มีปัญหานะครับทุกคน only order part of companies that are found ยังไงฮะ อันนี้น่าสนใจตรงนี้ว่ามันเป็น preposition เจ้าตัว preposition เนี่ยมันจะยากมากเพราะว่ามันต้องแปลแล้วก็อาศัยเซนส์ในการอ่านเยอะๆสิ่งที่เกิดขึ้นก็คือว่ามันเป็นคำว่า company list approved supplied ถูกไหมฮะมันเป็น list เพราะฉะนั้นเราต้องใช้คำว่า on หลายคนตอบ by นะฮะข้อนี้ตอบ A นะฮะจะมี tricky นิดนึงไม่เป็นไรตอบ A นะงงไหมเพราะว่าหนึ่งก็คือมันพูดถึง something hang on something else it's not that it is approved by someone else you know what I mean จะ tricky หน่อยนะครับแล้วก็โทรอีกประมาณนี้พอได้นะครับหมายถึงว่าพอเราเช็คเนี่ยต้อง double check นิดนึงเราตอบผิดได้นะครับแต่ว่าสมมติว่าถ้าเกิดว่าเราไม่ชัวร์อะไรอย่างเงี้ยเนี่ยก็พยายาม recheck หน่อยละกันก็จะช่วยได้เยอะนะครับ อันนี้ text completion ให้เวลาทำครับ3ข้อนี้ลองทำก่อนเดี๋ยวให้เวลาสัก1 นาทีพอเดี๋ยวมาเฉลยแล้วเราไปทำคำศัพท์กันนะครับใครตอบได้พิมพ์เข้ามาในแชทเลยทำหน้านี้นะโอเค3 ข้อเองโอเคมีคนตอบเข้ามาแล้วน่ารักมากนะฮะตัวนี้ต้องเป็น we've been reported is that right ต้องเป็น report ใช่ไหมฮะ reported report ว่า inform แป๊บหนึ่งนะขอดูก่อน dear report นะครับเพราะว่าถือเป็นการเขียนอีเมลนะตอบ B นะครับเซนประมาณนี้ถ้า inform ต้องเป็น spoken communication propose แปลว่านำเสนอ written ไม่ได้ต้องเป็น report เพราะว่าเขาพูดถึง customer นั่นเองนะครับต่อครับตัวนี้ก็จะยากนะเป็น participle ถูกไหมถ้าสังเกตแล้วเนี่ยเราต้องเช็คว่า action ongoing หรือเปล่านะครับ failing มาจากคำว่า which fail แต่ว่า action on อธิบายยังไงดีเดี๋ยวต้องรอทีมpresent participle กับ past participle clear อีกทีหนึ่งคือประมาณว่ามันพูดว่าสิ่งของเนี่ยส่งผลทำให้เกิดแล้วกันlet's say เป็นอย่างนั้นนะฮะเพราะฉะนั้นเป็น failing to arrive as scheduled หมายความว่าข้อนี้เนี่ยต้องตอบ ing หมายถึงว่าต้องตอบเป็น present participle is not that fair here right failing to do so ตอบ C นะเก่งมากข้อสอบ midterm ก็จะทรงนี้นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเรายังมีเวลา exam นะฮะทุกคนโอเคแต่ถ้าเรียนก็ได้ความรู้ก็เป็น option ที่น่าสนใจนะครับwe like to know why it has been delay อันนี้คือเป็น cause กับ effect ใช่ไหมฮะถ้าจำไม่ผิดนะ delay เนาะ replace คือ substitute implemented ก็คือ created หรือว่าการสร้างใหม่แล้วก็ repair ก็คือ fix it that's it ข้อนี้เป็น delay นะเพราะฉะนั้นสรุปง่ายๆคือว่าตอบข้อไหนได้อีกครั้งแป๊บหนึ่งนะ so this one we have been reported by one failing to do so and then has been delay that's it clear ไปครับปิดจ็อบแล้วทำคำศัพท์ครับทุกคนเหมือนเดิมเลย synonym นะฮะ30 ข้อใครทำเสร็จแล้วนะครับเดี๋ยวถ้าทำเสร็จเนี่ยไอให้เวลาประมาณสัก10 ถึง 15 นาทีนะครับ let's say ว่า30 ข้อเนี่ยถ้าอยู่ทำเร็วๆเนี่ยจริงๆละข้อหนึ่งประมาณ30 วิก็เสร็จแล้วนะฮะหรือเร็วกว่านั้นก็ได้นะครับโฟกัสนิดหนึ่งก็คือคำศัพท์เนี่ยจำเป็นต้องให้นะฮะเพราะว่ามันต้อง expand right so we can start from the first slide here right what I want from you is that you just find out the synonymous word or synonym right I mean if you can think of by yourself it might be great but if you're not So my suggestion would go for consult the dictionary or even search from the internet here, right? So now, shall we start for the first vocabulary here? Complexity. And you can think of like complicated or even, perplexed. Is that right? Or whatever. Put into this kind of slide from 1 to 10 here. And then after that, 3.2, 3.3, 30 list of vocabularies with the synonymous words. And after that, when you finish, you just type what? Type A for me. Okay? ใครที่เสร็จ vocab แล้วเนี่ยให้พิมพ์ A นะฮะ Okay, so now we can see from the first slide here, this complexity, complement, complementary, consequences, considerable, right? Considerable, confirmation, confusion, compulsory, concede แล้วก็ compromise นะฮะทั้ง10คำนี้เนี่ยจะเปิดด้วย C หมดเลยแต่ละหา synonym ไปนะเสร็จแล้วปุ๊บหน้าแรกวิ่งไปที่หน้า2ครับไม่ยากมาดูกัน correction consistent constantly consultant construction consumer consignment consignment หรือว่า consignment ไม่แน่ใจนะเดี๋ยวไปเช็ค spelling อีกทีหนึ่งcontinuation conveniently แล้วก็จบด้วย convincing โอเคไหมฮะก็หา synonym เหมือนเดิมเลยหาเร็วๆเลยนะฮะเราจะได้ปิดจ็อบไวๆนะครับแต่ต้องหาให้ถูกด้วยนะโอเค good the last for vocabulary is that coverage credentials contribution cooperation criticize critical currency crucial cutting edge แล้วก็ commute สังเกตว่าวันนี้เนี่ยเราจะเริ่มรันที่ตัว C หมดเลยนะครับ so actually I just want to make sure that you can learn the list of TOEIC vocabulary but what I want from you is that you can expand the vocabulary is not just only word list here and what you need to do is that just find out the synonymous word or synonym that's it แล้วก็ถ้าเสร็จแล้วก็มาทำ before we go นะครับ before we go เนี่ยก็ไม่ยากครับแค่เลือกมาหรือจะทำทั้ง3อันก็ได้นะครับเป็นการฝึกเขียนแล้วกันนะฮะ this is a floor and opportunity for all of you to practice your writing based on idiomatic expression here I can say that for the first one is that regular exercise so you can think of that I usually do regular exercise in the early morning just because I think I'm gonna get I want to improve my health that's it or mindful vote อ่านว่ายังไงไม่ทราบเหมือนกันนะฮะสักอย่างหนึ่งแต่ว่ายูก็เขียนไปนะครับแต่งไปหรือว่า excruciating pain it means that very pain right it seems to me that I was excruciating pain from what he or she did to me last year and I just recovered from this to be better person and become stronger things like that okay again right if you finish you have to read your sentence to me and then you can leave out from the Zoom again right the last activity for today is that what you need to do is that find out the synonymous word from 3.1 3.2 and then 3.3 once you finish you type A for me first in the chat Zoom okay and after that you can create a meaningful sentence here just choose only one of 3 and after once you finish writing you just read it out loud and then we can finish a class just only this do you understand yes or no พิมพ์ yes นิดนึงบังคับ yes ดีกว่านะฮะโอเค sorry for that ทุกคนพิมพ์ yes เลยแป๊บนึงนะดีมากครับเก่งมากมันไม่ทำคำศัพท์ก่อนนะdepend นะใครเสร็จแล้วพิมพ์ A เข้ามาก่อนแล้วก็แต่งประโยคปุ๊บอ่านออกเสียงแล้วก็ปิดซูมได้เลยนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นมัน vary นะหมายถึงว่าแต่ละคนอาจจะเสร็จไม่เหมือนกันแต่ I stand by ให้อยู่ได้จนถึงนาทีสุดท้ายนะครับ Good. Someone finished vocabulary already. And then just make sure that you have the information of that vocabulary, right? Just save, save in your own file, right? Okay.
So do I have to complete the sentence, right?
Yep. This is the last activities that you have to create a sentence, and then once you finish creating a sentence, you just read it out loud, and then you can finish the class for today. Okay.
I maintained my health through regularly exercise every day.
Thank you so much. Okay, done.
Thank
Right.
you.
Okay. Àมีคนเขียน yes เข้ามาแล้วนะฮะน่ารักมากโอเค
Hello.
Right, someone want to talk, right? Okay, good. Super great.
Did I say the sentence?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm in excruciating pain from the accident.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for your sharing here. Uh-huh. You can leave from the Zoom now, right? Thank you. See you next week. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, I will try first. Park has consequently excruciating explain.
Uh-huh. All right, good. Thank you.
โอเคค่ะ
นะครับใครอยากไปกินข้าวรีบเลยนะครับ
New movie release is about story of childhood excruciating pain.
Okay, good.
Had a maiden voyage to went to England alone.
Maiden voyage. Good. Next จัดเลยนะใครพร้อมไปแล้วแบบจัดเลยนะฮะโอเค
After I say the sentence, I can leave, right?
Yes. Once you finish a sentence, you can leave now.
Okay.
อาจารย์คะ
ว่าไงครับ
ได้ไหมคะ
Right.
คืออาจารย์ exam อะค่ะคือถ้าเป็นสอบ British Council ที่เราไปสอบเองแล้วแบบหนูเห็นในเว็บมันมีไปสอบเองแล้วถ้าเราอยากได้แบบผลสอบเราต้องจ่ายตังค์แล้วก็ถ้าเอามายื่นนี่จะยื่นได้ไหมอะคะ
ยื่นได้ครับยื่นได้ครับก็ถ้าจำไม่ผิดน่าจะประมาณให้มันเป็น B2 อะครับlevel ก็คืออยู่ที่ B2 ไอไม่แน่ใจว่าตัวเลขมันเคาะที่เท่าไหร่น่าจะถ้าจำไม่ผิดน่าsomething I'm not sure นะแต่ว่าให้มันเทียบเป็นมันจะมี C1 C2 ถูกไหมครับแล้วก็ B1 B2 ของเราอ่ะจะ accept อยู่ที่ B2 ถ้าหนูได้ B2 ก็ยื่นได้เลยแต่ว่ารู้สึกว่าต้องไปแจ้งกับทาง ICI หมายถึงว่าทางไอไม่แน่ใจนะว่าใครเป็นคนเก็บสกอร์ใช่โอเคแต่ว่าให้ report แล้วก็ถ้าคะแนนถึงแล้วเนี่ยไปเขียนชื่อในโน้ตกลุ่มด้วยนะครับเพราะว่าพอตอนตัดเกรดเนี่ยจะได้เป็น recheck อีกทีหนึ่งครับผม
โอเคค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
ครับผม
อาจารย์คะ Okay.
Yeah.
Regular exercise such as aerobic and swimming contribute to good health ค่ะ
Thank you so much for sharing here. You can leave from the Zoom now. Get good.
Thank you ค่ะ
ใครไม่อยากกินข้าวนะฮะ
อาจารย์ค่ะ
ว่าไงมาเลยGood.
I am taking regular exercise with my trainer.
Great. Nice to have from you.
And he has such excruciating pain that he had to lie quite still in his bed.
I see. Great.
Thank you ค่ะ
Thank you ครับมีไหมเหลือแค่เบญญาใช่ไหมฮะ So I think it's okay for us. Maybe I have to finish a class just only this. And see you next week. ขอบคุณมากครับ สวัสดีครับ โอเค